now tuned in to Followers of the Way, where you get that raw, uncut, and unadulterated truth. Stay tuned. Shalom and greetings to all my family out there that's scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. I greet all of y'all this morning in the one and only true name of our Creator that dwells in the heavenly realm, the Honorable Abba Yahuwah. Before I get into this message this morning, I first want to say that I hope that everybody is alive and well. I hope that everybody is maintaining, watching over their family, and just making sure, everybody good at this time that we're living in. And one of the other things that I wanted to say real quick is that I know that a lot of you have been reaching out to me or whatnot, writing to me and things of that nature. But I want to say that as of right now, I haven't been taking phone calls, haven't been taking emails or responding back for the specific reason that I have FOTW 2.0 that I'm getting ready to roll out. So there's getting ready to be a lot of changes on a lot of different things, doctrine included. Okay, so I just at this time haven't been taking any calls or just really getting back with people until I actually am able to get all of that stuff laid out. So just right now, just watch the videos and try to, get what you can get until I'm able to roll that out. What I will say is that with a lot of the changes that's coming up, what I do want is I want brothers and sisters to reach out to me, those of you out there who have spare time that you can dedicate to the work of the ministry, because with a lot of the different things that's getting ready to be laid out, I'm gonna need brothers and sisters for a lot of different things. So just shoot me an email, let me know your availability. And then what I would do is as I begin to start laying different things out, then I'll start reaching out to brothers and sisters to just see, what they can contribute to as far as time-wise is concerned. Also, if there's brothers and sisters out there that have certain technical skills and things like that, also reach out to me and let me know some of the things that you'd be able to offer. Because right now, as I explained to you in my previous videos, I'm at a point right now where I'm working and I'm trying to build this platform up where we able to reach a lot of people and we able to get this message out to people and be able to be on the world stage where we're able to actually where we're able to make changes on a lot of different things, because we have to be at the table when a lot of these different issues are going down within the Hebrew community amongst our people. And just a lot of different things we got to be aware of, and we have to have a say, because like I've explained to you, a lot of these people that are sitting on these high platforms are people that truly do not represent it, that do not have our best interests at heart, so we have to hold their feet to the fire. And this is one of the ways you do it, by building this up, getting this information out to people, because then that's when they start to respect, and they're like, okay, well, because we live in a time right now where today people look at numbers. It's like if you have a lot of numbers, a lot of following, then to them you're a threat, and then you're going to get attention of a lot of these different people once this thing take off. So to the brothers and the sisters, those of you who have time to dedicate, just shoot me an email, and I get with you guys here in the days and weeks to come. And kind of go over some of the things that I'm getting ready to lay out and see if you're gonna, if some of you will be able to fit in into some of the things that we're gonna be doing, because we're gonna be on a lot of these different platforms, from Clubhouse to Patreon, just a lot of these different platforms that a lot of people are on today. We're gonna be set up on these platforms, and so our presence can be felt. Okay, so this morning, I have a very quick message. It shouldn't take that long for me to go through this message, but the name of this message today is titled Examining the New Testament. Okay, and this is going to be a brand new series that I'm getting ready to start, and today is going to be the intro of what we're getting ready to get into. And the last series I did on marriage, I knew when that message was delivered to me by the way of the Ruach, that message or that series was going to be a big series, and it did turn out to be a big series. So now, as I'm receiving this information from on high about this subject that we're getting ready to get in concerning the New Testament, I believe that this is also going to be a big series, mainly because this series that we're getting ready to get into is getting ready to try the faith of all men and women that to some extent glean or take from the New Testament. From your uh, top shelf Christian all the way down to your your most thoroughest Hebrew Israelite set. Because all of these people, including us, to some degree, glean and take from the New Testaments. From the New Testament, regardless if it's just a little bit or, bits and pieces. I don't see not one entity out here, regardless of how they classify their movement. I don't see nobody out here that's just, excuse me, all of these different entities that you see out here, regardless of, what organization or, messianic group people tie themselves to, everybody gleans from this New Testament to some degree, okay? And so, to those of you out there who have come out of the church and have been out for a certain period of time or just now coming out, and I know for me over the years, you've probably heard that, people say that the New Testament is fake, it's fraudulent, okay? I've heard people say that, they acknowledge that there's certain things within the New Testament that's fraudulent, but their mind state is that we're not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. There's certain things that's not right. We're just going to pick through it and, keep this, keep that, throw this out, throw that out, okay? Then you have those out there that's just full New Testament. You don't need the Old Testament. Don't worry about the Old Testament. All you need is the New Testament. This is all you got to focus on. This is it, okay? So we've heard all of these stories being juggled from somebody at some point in time, okay? So what we're getting ready to do is we're getting ready to examine the New Testament to really see what the facts really prove whenever it comes down to us dealing with this New Testament. See, what people have to understand, whenever you hear people speaking about the truth this, the truth that, when you look that word truth up, okay, the definition of truth is things that are factual, that's fact. If something is a fact, then that's truth, okay? That's just like if you say, okay, you're a black man, okay? This is a fact, I am a man of color, So this is truth. This is truth is based on facts, and it's like today when you hear people speaking about the truth of things of that, these people are speaking about things that's just not accurate, because like whenever you look at faith, okay, because you hear people kicking these words around, faith, do you have faith in this, faith in that? Well, faith is believing in something that's true, that's factual, So what you have going on today is what is known as blind faith. People are believing in things blindly, and some people are not doing it blindly, but a lot of people are believing in these things blindly because they're not taking the time out to do the research. Most people, and I could just speak from like people within the people that I deal with and have dealt with over the years, it's like a lot of these people was like, okay, I'm going to take the names, right? Because the names were things that people can grasp, where it's like, okay, we know Jesus is only 400 years old. Nobody called on Jesus prior to, the Europeans, creating this stuff and coming up with it. Nobody called on this stuff. And once you start to break down certain things, people can receive that. And it's like, okay, we'll take that. But then in taking that, they think that that's all, they still want to hold on to these concepts and ideologies that comes from Christendom. And they're just cool with it. Okay, I got the name, that's it, and that's, I'm done, And so this is why this is going to be a big series, because there's a lot of information that's getting ready to come out concerning the New Testament. And, a lot of people don't want to have this discussion, namely because well, one, people get content, and it's just like, like I said, there's certain ideologies and concepts that people adopt, and they just want to hold on to these, and it's just like, hey, that's it. We don't need to investigate no more. Then you have the other people that look at it like, well, now we get into a touchy subject, because if we find out that the New Testament is not true, it's not accurate, then what? And this blows people's mind, because it's like, well, what do I do now? What do I do next? Okay. So all of this stuff we're going to be talking about throughout this series. And I'm just the type of person where if something is factual, then this is what I have to roll with, if it's the truth, regardless of where it's going to take me. A lot of these things that we go through in life is to help build us up and get us to the next point. It's just like, say for me, for an example, I've always been a leader, always had a leader mentality. And it's like over the last 4 or 5 years, I've dealt with a lot of different people. And then it's like when I sit back and I reflect sometimes, because there's a lot of people that have come and gone. This is the Father preparing me for the mission that we get ready to lay out and lay down now. So a lot of these things you go through is for training. It's to get you to a certain particular point in life. And if you don't go through these things, then you're not gonna be the best you can be. Okay, let's put it like that. If a person never goes through nothing in life, there's no growth, there's no building, there's nothing, So over the last several months, last couple years and stuff, I've been grooming people for this point, because as I have explained to you, we're starting to get more into what I would consider, if we look at this from a worldly perspective, we're starting to get more into the college stuff, the geometry, trigonometry, all of this stuff that they teach on the college level that you don't learn when you're in grade school, because it'll just blow your mind. It's way too far out. And it's the same thing with this. A lot of you that say you are in the truth have stayed at certain levels throughout this whole thing, like okay, I got this, that's that, and I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. This is why when a series like this come out, a lot of people get shook and going to get rolled over, because a lot of things they're not going to be able to grasp, because they have not took the time out to really put the work in, to be diligent in their research. Okay, so one of the things that I want to lay out, okay, and this is just some things to give you a little understanding on why we doing this now. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. Get that. Let's go here. And, okay, so right here. Go here. And let me pull this up real quick. So right here, hold on, give me 1 second. We're getting ready to look at some documents real quick. So I want to, let me get this screen record going real quick, and then we're gonna take off. Okay. Okay, right here. All right, so, okay, here we go. Okay, so now, what we're looking at right here, okay, is this is the website to the Codex Sinaiticus, okay, and to those of you out there who have watched a lot of my older videos, like the Great Falling Away and things like that, because one of the things I do is I don't really get caught up in these translations, because I study manuscripts. I need to know manuscripts, where this is coming from, what this is based off of, and how authentic, different things is. So this is something that I've been doing for quite a while now. It's just now we at a point where we kind of getting ready to get all the way busy with it. But so we here at the Codex Sinaiticus website, and if you look here in the table of contents, okay, we got to be mindful is that this is a Bible that's coming from the 4th, 5th century, right? Okay, so when we look at this particular Bible, okay, this is a Bible that was read to the congregation, to the people during this time period, okay? And so if we look at this particular Bible right here, right, we can see some of these books that are not in our particular Bible today. You know, like we don't see Tobit, Judith, First Maccabees, Fourth Maccabees, and of course, these particular books. Some of these books could be found in what is known as the Apocrypha. You know, so some of you, if you don't have like a 1611 where they had it, you know, in the 1611 Bible, you can just pretty much go get that particular book with these particular books known as the Apocrypha, but it's not in our actual Bibles today. Okay, and if you just kind of go down through here, we can see we have the Wisdom of Solomon. If we go into the New Testament, we see books like Barnabas, the Shepherd of Hermas, and it looks like, and they have down here unidentified fragments. So there was other writings or things that was in this particular Bible, but this is the thing that I'm trying to bring to people's minds on why we're going into examining this New Testament, because the things that we need to know is who put this New Testament together, right? Because number one, when we go back, let's just look at the account of Paul, right? Okay, Paul is moving around 50s, and of course I'm gonna go over the dates and the things of his epistles, but they got him around like 50 some CE. You know, a lot of his epistles stretch back to, and they have him dying around 60 some CE, right? Okay, so the thing that we must be mindful of is that during this time period, we know that Paul wasn't running around with the epistle of Barnabas, okay, or the Gospel of Mark. Okay, because remember, Mark was the one that him and Barnabas got into it over, because remember they was down there, you know, with the guys going back and forth. Mark cut out. So remember they got into it and then they split ways. Barnabas took Mark with him and went where he was going, and Paul took what was it? I don't know if that was Timothy or Silas, and then they went to where they was going. So we know at this time point, when Paul was going to see these people, he wasn't preaching from a Gospel of Mark or Gospel of Luke, because remember, Luke was with Paul. You know, he wasn't preaching from the book of Matthew or the book of John, none of these books, you know what I'm saying? So this is the first thing that people have to grasp, you know. So we know that these books came way after that time period, so we have to understand the history on these things. How were these books compiled, and where did they come from, and are they coming from authentic sources? You see, before we just put our faith and our belief in something and say, oh, well, this is what it is, because clearly, as we go back and we look at a Bible that's coming from the 4th, 5th century, we have books that's in this particular codex or Bible that's not in our Bible today. Okay? And so the problem with this is that if this is the inspired word of the Most High, right? Don't you think that people need to hear about the Shepherd of Hermas, Barnabas, and all of these different things that's contained in these particular codexes that they read to the people, and during that time period, they put this on the people and said, this is the authority in the earth. This is the word from the Most High that was given to us by the way of the apostles, the people that was with the apostles, whatever it was. So they was using these codexes during this time period, these Bibles, and was preaching these things to the people and was standing on the people. And now, years later, you know what I'm saying, 1,500 years later, these books are nowhere to be found. I mean, now you can go buy a copy of the book of the Shepherd of Hermas or Barnabas. You can find, different, but it's not in our Bibles today. Most of you have not read the Shepherd of Hermas or the Epistle of Barnabas, or things of that nature. These books that's in this particular codex on this time period. So the question we have to ask ourselves, who is giving these people the authority to remove these books out of these codexes if it is the word of the Most High? You see, these are things we have to get to the bottom of. Now, if we jump over here to the Codex, let's jump over here. The Codex Alexandria. Okay. Now, this is a codex that they date around 400, 440. So it's coming from 4th, 5th century. Okay, somewhere in there is, different. They debate on these things of that nature. But if we look at, let me see here. Okay, yeah. So if we look at this particular codex right here in this table of contents, the letters that's in this particular Bible, okay, we can see here we have a list right here that starts to go down, and we have okay in the Old Testament. Let's see here. What do we have here that's not in our books today? So right here, one of the things that we don't have is we have the book of Jeremiah from the prophet, but then you had a letter of Jeremiah. Okay, now this is something that's totally different than the actual book of Jeremiah that was in there. Okay, and then you had Baruch, which of course you can find that in the Apocrypha, that collection of books, if you don't have the 1611 Bible. Okay, with all of that in there, and then you have Daniel. Okay, so plus. Suzanne, the prayer of Azariah, song of the three Jews. Okay. We don't have that. Bel and the dragon. Okay, so Bel and the dragon, prayer of Azariah. Well, no, we don't even have the prayer of Azariah, because that was in the Apocrypha, it's the prayer of Manasseh. So we don't have none of this. Okay. Bel the dragon is in there, but we don't have that. Okay. Now, Tobit, Judith, and all of that can be found in Apocrypha, but then here you have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th Maccabees. Okay, so we don't have all of the Maccabees, which is here in this particular Bible, going back to, they dated around 400 CE. Then you have an epistle of Archbishop, what is that? Athanasius, if I'm saying that correct. So you got all of this stuff from these particular men that's supposed to be, the men of the Most High, the people that what I'm saying, all of this stuff, however they want to classify it. But we don't have none of this stuff in our particular Bibles. Then you have the Oldies of Moses. That's another. It's another book. Let me see. Look that up. Oldies. Let's do this. Oldies. Old Testament. Okay, Book of Oldies. Okay, so. It is commonly referred to simply as Oldies. Is a book in the Bible found only in Eastern Orthodox Bibles and included in appendix after Psalms in Alfred Ra's critical edition of the Septuagint, coming from the 5th century Codex Alexandrinus. Okay, so that's what we're looking at now. So this only appears in the Eastern Bibles. It's not in our particular Bibles today, which, once again, if this is the word of the Most High, why ain't this stuff in our Bibles? Who's taking this stuff out, and who's authorizing it? Is it inspired just for the eastern half of the empire, or does it, does it pertain to us too? So these are things that we have to get to the bottom of. All of this stuff, the prayer. Look at this stuff. The prayer of Zacharias. We don't have this in our book. Okay, the prayer of Hezekiah. The prayer of Jonah. All of this stuff. We don't have none of this stuff in our Bibles today. Okay. And then down here you can see where you have 1st Clement and 2nd Clement. You know what I'm saying? Then you have the Psalms of Solomon. See, we don't have none of this stuff in our Bibles today. So once again, as we break this information down and rightly process this information. If we go back to the fourth to the 5th century, right? Okay, this Bible is a Bible that they used and was preached to the people, the congregations of that time period, and they had all of this material in there. Okay, but now in our Bibles we have none of that. You see, so it's one of two things. It's either it's inspired or it's not inspired, you know. And then if it is inspired, why is it not in our books? Don't you think that people need to know that, you know? And if it's not inspired, then we have a bigger problem, because now we have to go back and look and say, well, who's putting this stuff together and who's saying that it's inspired and it's not inspired? You see, this is how deep this stuff is. And it's just like, this is why people don't want to get into it. But what you got to be mindful of is that we're living in a time, remember in the book of Daniel, it said that knowledge would increase, okay? This is what's going on here in these last days. We are in a digital era where we're able to get our hands on this information that the men of old could not easily access. This is why when you hear textual criticism, people today have access to these ancient manuscripts that predate manuscripts on which our Bibles and stuff are based off of. Like, say, for example, when you look at the KJV is based off the Texas Receptors. These are manuscripts that's not that old. It just traces back to what, the 12th, 13th, 14th century, somewhere in there, are the manuscripts that he's using for this particular manuscript, Aramis, okay? When you go back, there's other manuscripts that predate that. This is how they're able to fact check and say, well, we got ancient manuscripts that way predate those manuscripts. You know, this is why I tell you, when they tell you all of this stuff, oh, we got 5,000, 7,000, all these different manuscripts of the New Testament, you have to be mindful that a bulk of that is only coming from a certain period of time. You see, 9th, 10th century and all that's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? We going back and looking at the ancient manuscripts, the ones that predate those, you know, the stuff we got from the 2nd, 3rd, 4th century. This is the stuff we're looking at that predate all of this stuff. So all of that stuff about we got that, don't even listen to that. That's garbage. What we're looking at is the ancient manuscripts that predate all of that garbage. Okay. And so scholars are able to go back and see that in these different manuscripts, they have different readings. This is why when you look at these different Bibles, they have different readings in them, because some of these people that's over these different Bible organizations are going into the ancient manuscripts and getting the more correct reading than what you have in the KJV. You see? See, now we're getting into a higher level understanding of the book, because this is very important, because when you pick this Bible up and you start reading that Bible, and there's certain passages in there that we like to try to hold people to and be like, hey, it say this right here, and this is what it is, and we standing on that. Well, if you got manuscripts that predate these manuscripts that have a different reading, got a different saying, and don't say that, then what are we doing here? We're trying to hold people to stuff that's actually not there. You see? So this is stuff we're getting ready to get into in this series, because when you start to look at a lot of these different passages and things that's not properly translated, they have a whole totally different meaning than the meaning that we think or wanted to have, you know? So it's starting to boil down to what is truth and what's not true. If it's not truth, we have to move ourselves away from it, you know? So we don't have none of these books in our Bibles today, you know? Let's jump over here. What I got here? Okay, so this is the Codex Vaticanus, and okay, and this is of the Old Testament right here. So this is kind of like, you know, kind of like the same thing. We got what is this? First Kings, Chronicles. Okay, Wisdom, Prelude to Ecclesiastics. Esther with additions, Judith, Tobit, okay, Baruch, the Epistle of Jeremiah, okay, so that's different once again from the actual the book of Jeremiah. So once again, we just saw this in I believe that was that Codex Alexandrinus. Yeah. So in here, you got it in the Codex Vaticanus, Codex Alexandrinus, but we don't have it in our epistles today. Okay. So as we go back and we start to look and do research, a lot of these books that they were putting on the people during that time period and saying that, oh, this is authentic, this is the authority. We don't have these books in our Bible today. And one of the last things that I want to touch on is that, okay, when we go and we look at, okay, the situation with, and they got up here, Jesus and the woman taken in adultery, right? So when you go into the book of John, John chapter 8, right? We know about the story with the woman caught in adultery, where they said they brought her out to the Mashiach and was like, we caught this woman in there, and he was down there drawn in the sand or whatnot, and then, told him, whoever is without sin cast the first stone. Okay. But it's well known among scholars that this is what is known as an interpolation. Okay, it's something that's been added into the script that's not there. Okay, it's not in none of the ancient manuscripts, so they know that this is an interpolation. Okay, so as we see here, let's look at this right here. Okay, now right here it says, recent English Bible translations say that it's not part of the Bible. This reflects the broad academic consensus as rendered by Novium Testament Greek NA28. This is said by most New Testament scholars, including most evangelical New Testament scholars, for well over a century. Okay, so they all know that this particular story concerning this woman is fraudulent. Okay, now another receipt that we want to look at is, if we look here at this guy right here, Larry Hurtado's. Okay, he wrote a blog. This is a scholar. Okay, scholarly source to all the people. Scholarly sources. We got scholarly sources, but if you actually read this, you can look this up. We'll just look at a little bit of it. It says the account of the woman. Okay, let's go up here a little bit. The account of the woman caught in adultery and brought to, and I got Jesus there, is a well-known textual variant and problem, eventually obtaining a place in the Gospel of John 7:53 through 8. And vast majority of manuscripts of the Middle Ages is typically judged by New Testament textual critics to be an insertion initiated at some point, and so not part of the authentic or the original text of John. Okay, so you can continue to read through this particular article with this scholar, but this is something that's well known in the scholarly world. There's no scholar that's going to debate with you and say, no, that's not true. This is, this is an interpolation. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make here is that although this is a nice story, and I've used this story in a lot of, some of the sermons that I've done over the years, but it's a well-known fact among scholars, okay, except for over a century. They know that this particular passage is an interpolation. It's fraudulent. It's not in none of the ancient manuscripts. It's not authentic, okay? And this is why, if you look at certain Bibles, and I will say with the Watchtower, the Jehovah's Witnesses Bible, because all these Bibles have different things in them that is good. You just got to know how to pick through them. But even like in their Bible, they tell you that is not in the ancient manuscripts that they're using for their translation of the New Testament. So they just give you a footnote, like this is not included in there. It's in the Bibles today, but it's not in the ancient manuscripts, right? So the point that I'm trying to make here is, although this is a good story, we all like the story with it, and he without sin cast the first stone when he used it. But the fact of the matter is it's fraudulent. You see, it's not actually there in the ancient manuscripts. So when we go and we try to take stuff like, and this is just mild sauce, this is softball. We getting ready to get into some heavyweights as I move through this actual series. But I'm just giving you an idea of the stuff that we're dealing with and things that we have to address. We can't take certain texts and try to stand on it and hold people to these things when the things are fraudulent. It's not authentic, So this is just, like I said, this is very easy. A lot of people should know this. If you have any type of done any type of little bit of studying on like the New Testament, you know this. Okay, this is easy. Okay, so we're going to get into more of this, but I just wanted to show you some of the things that we're going to be dealing with. So coming up, the next thing that I'm going to do before we actually start dissecting the New Testament, the epistles, the letters, the next thing that we're going to do in this series is I'm going to teach you the development of the New Testament. How was it assembled? Okay. These are things that if you say you are a believer in the truth and all this, you have to know this information. And the information is there. A lot of people don't want to take the time to study it. This is why I'm taking the time to break these things down and give you understanding on it. So you need to understand how the New Testament canon came about and how they authenticate these different books or letters in the New Testament. Okay. And once I break that down to you and take you all the way back to the first, second, third century and show you how these epistles and things and letters and gospels and all these things came to be, then we're going to start dissecting the material that's in the actual letters or, the gospels and things of that nature. Okay. So I didn't want to take up a whole lot of time today. This is just the intro into this new series we're getting ready to get into. So I would advise brothers and sisters to, start doing a little bit of research, on this particular subject so you can kind of be up on some of the things that's going to be laid out. And if not, then I'm going to lay it out. And then you, of course, can go and fact check and make sure all of the information that I'm giving to you is accurate and is in alignment with what the truth really is. Okay. So I hope everybody have a Barak day. And I'm going to pick this back up in part 2 on the development of the New Testament. Shalom.